I have a bachelor's in accounting. I have a master's in business and accounting forensics. I was a controller for 12 years of 5 companies in downtown Chicago. Then I moved over to the Union League Boys and Girls Club where I was a director, and now I'm here in the city of East Chicago.
Wow, you know what? And I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club. I must say, if it weren't for them, just growing up in the harbor and just staying off the streets, they taught me a whole lot. I mean, it was a real fulfilling job for me working at the Boys and Girls Club. So what? How did you become the Park and Recreation Director? How did it all happen?
So basically, my husband is a Purple Heart veteran. He was in tour in Afghanistan and he got injured. And when he came back, we had a lot of issues where he had PTSD and everything that the veterans usually come back from war suffer from. So then I think that was a reality check of that family's more important than working and everything else. So we actually took 2 years off and traveled around the world. And then we basically retired. And then we came back and we're fresh now with a new mindset. And now we're looking to help the community and give back whenever we can.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're planning to implement in our park system.
So our parks are pretty much set, and we're doing them everything brand new. We already worked on some of the parks, and we have a few more to go. But my job also consists in not only the parks, but the city of East Chicago has 6 full functioning community centers. It's basically 6 individual centers, more or less like 6 Boys and Girls Clubs that offer after-school programming, and it's totally free to residents of East Chicago.
And speaking of recreation centers, City Hall is right next door to Heritage Hall, and we're witnessing, the building of this new facility. East Chicago is getting 2 new recreation centers, correct?
Correct. So in total, we're going to have 8 community centers, and they're completely free to the community. And for kids 6 to 18, we service them totally free, and we also offer summer programming, and that's free as well to all East Chicago residents.
Yeah, it's really cool seeing that stuff getting built. Right now they have a giant crane outside, and they're lowering all the walls into place, which is kind of cool. Yesterday we flew the drone over, and just to get a different view of how this new construction's coming along. But that's really great. I see they also broke ground at the one over off of Guthrie. So I think by the spring, the Heritage Hall one will be open, and there's a lot of construction going on in East Chicago right now, which is great.
Yes.
What's one of the biggest challenges you faced as a new director?
I think one of the biggest challenges is in a private sector, you have more, things move a little faster. So I want to kind of hit the floor running, but then it's like, being in a public sector, you need approval, you need board approval, you need, approval of certain people and request certain funds, and it kind of delays the process. So even though you want to do something pretty quickly, you kind of got to be conscious that it is going to take some time before you see any results.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and it was quite a surprise because no one knew we were going to get a new park director, and the mayor kind of was like, hey, let's see what we can do. We got some fresh new blood, and which is great. One thing I do commend the mayor on is he has a pretty young group of individuals, working on the city, and oftentimes in the past, young people really weren't given that type of opportunity, and that's one thing I give my hats off to the mayor for. I still consider myself kind of young myself too, But what are some of the goals that you have for the park department?
So I think it'll take probably the whole show, but the Parks and Recreation is split in 4 different areas. So I think a lot of people don't know that we have over 20 parks. We have the 6 community centers that are completely free to the community. In addition to that, we have a golf course that has a 9-hole golf course. It has miniature golf, it has batting cages, and that's open to the public and to the community. And we also have 4 greenhouses It's fully functioning greenhouses, and we also grow our own vegetables, which is 100% organic, and they're free to the East Chicago residents as well.
Yeah, that's a really cool program. The aquaponics program the city started was, you know, you have colleges coming to check this out because this is so cool, so new technology. It's all organic, and you guys have a lot of stuff. I know you guys were working with the Salvation Army and feeding some of the people there, but can people go to the greenhouse and get some of this stuff?
Yes, it's all free to the Chicago residents. They could just walk in while supplies last. We harvest every Thursday, so we have plenty of lettuce, we have green peppers, we have cilantro, we have a lot of vegetables there that are completely free and 100% organic.
You have lots of basil. The basil is the bomb. I've gotten basil from there, and it's so tasty. It's so tasty. But that's cool. I see you started a new Facebook page for the park department also.
We did. We have the East Chicago Parks and Rec at East Chicago, Indiana, and we're doing our best to keep it updated with all the new things that are happening in our department.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad you took that step because, as you know, our department runs our Facebook page, and it's constant. I'm glad the Marina took, they also have their own page. So if you want to find out more about the city of East Chicago, you can go to ECTV, Indiana, and look up what we have. Also, the Parks has their own page, and the Marina has their own page, because you guys all have a lot of activities going on, and we can't always monitor every little thing going on in the city. I'm glad you guys took that initiative. But that's great. Can you tell us any more, or before we move on to Tony?
So just some information about the aquaponics. Most people might not be familiar with the system, but it's actually a large tank that we have 500 gallons of water in that tank, and we have bluegill fishes there, over 400 fishes there. So we take the waste from the fishes and we actually filter them, and we use the protein and the good bacteria to actually grow our vegetables.
Well, that's cool. Well, thank you for joining us, Mara. We're glad to have you aboard. Can't wait to see the new things that you have in store for the city of Chicago, and thanks for joining us. Now, next we have Anthony Serna, a longtime childhood friend of mine. You come a long way, sir. He is the new fire chief for the city of Chicago. Tell us a little about yourself, Tony.
Good morning, and good morning, everybody listening. Thank you, Steve, for having us here. I've been with the fire department since 1995, 22 years on the job, born and raised here in East Chicago, 1988 graduate of East Chicago Central High School. My family and I, my wife Lisa, my sons Anthony and Daniel, they're my support system, they're my backbone. Also at work, I couldn't do my job without my deputy chief Damon Carpenter, my staff captain Mark Escobedo, my administrative assistant Maria Becerra, and of course with me, right next to me, is Chief Inspector Henry Ventura. We're here today to talk about our open house, our 8th annual open house that we have coming up here in October the 7th. Inspector Captain Steve Wilgus plays a tremendous role in our everyday operations there in the Inspection Bureau and Fire Prevention Bureau. But I'm glad to be here, Steve, and sitting next to our new park director. I also serve on the park board, and I've seen over the last 3 years the tremendous amount of change, the tremendous amount of money, and hard work that has been put into parks and recreation. Formerly, Fran Nowacki, as a recreation manager, was our point person to deal with. Marino Solorio, who is now our economic and planning director. When they first brought forth all the plans that they had for the parks, it was kind of hard to believe. It was kind of hard to imagine all the changes that were coming. But if anyone who has gone through Chicago can see, the changes that have gone on at the parks are a credit to the vision of the mayor, the vision of Marino, everybody's hard work, and now Myra, educated, fresh blood, coming in here with her ideas. We're going to take it to the next level. It's not only going to be about the facilities, but it's going to be about programming. You can see with her experience and what she brings to the table and her ideas that it's the right time. The mayor did make a good choice. He made a perfect choice to take us to that next level, considering with the new Heritage Hall that's coming and the new Pennsylvania Center that's coming over on Guthrie Street. We have an opportunity to do what hasn't been done in so many years, and that is to make people think about staying in East Chicago for their recreation. You know, so many times residents, they're looking for some type of recreation to do, and they would go to much popular parks around. Wicker Park is a good park, different parks around. Well, guess what? We're going to have programming. We've got beautiful parks, things for East Chicago residents and for all of Northwest Indiana, but for East Chicago residents to enjoy in their backyard. Our parks are second to none. Second to none. I have to say that with all the improvements, like I said, it's not just about the money that's been spent, but it's about the vision of the mayor and Marina Solorio, and now with Myra Acosta in charge. It's definitely going to the next level. So I'm very proud to have been a part of that, serving on the park board. But as far as fire department goes, the reason I brought my chief inspector, Henry Ventura, Henry, you've got how many years? I'll let you go and take over because I have so much respect for you, Henry, and all the time that you've served on the East Chicago Fire Department. The floor is yours, sir.
I've been resident all my life of East Chicago. I've been with the fire department 38 years in the inspection bureau since 1983.
Wow, that's the year we graduated, dude.
Yep.
From high school. No, from grade school.
8th grade.
We're going to be having our 8th annual fire department open house. This event will be on Saturday, October the 7th, and it will run from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Central Fire Station, 3901 Indianapolis Boulevard. And the reason for this event, what we try to do is it's a very educational, fun-filled yearly event held during Fire Prevention Week for the community, where we're able to reinforce fire safety. The fire department, we will be having fire department demonstrations. The guys are going to put on evolutions. We're going to be having safety videos, all station tours for people who've never been in our house, fire safety house tours, vehicle extrication demonstrations, an obstacle course for children. DJ, of course, Tony will be our DJ that day.
I heard he's pretty good, man.
Oh, yeah, very good.
We got some history there. That's the reason I was joking with him about it.
Entertainment for children. We'll have a stilt walker, balloon twisters, paint painters. Ronald McDonald will be out. We have a bunch of handouts, all various subjects, giveaways, a lot of information booths and vendors, free food, refreshments. We're going to have blood pressure screenings and more. Last year we had over 300 people, and we usually range between 300 and 500 people for this event. This year's event is sponsored by ArcelorMittal, along with the City of East Chicago and Patriot Rail. This year's theme is Hear the Beep Where You Sleep. And the reason for this theme is every bedroom needs to have a working fire detector.
I didn't know that. Every bedroom. Man, I had a lot of fire detectors to put in my house.
And this is a city code, city ordinance and a state ordinance. So you should have working smoke detectors, every bedroom, hallways, basements, upper level where you sleep, and mainly all through the house. Check your smoke detectors every 6 months, and they're usually good for 5 years.
I see I remember the fire department before used to have a smoke detector program in the past, but I didn't even know that you had to have it in every bedroom, because we just have them in the hallways, near the bedrooms, and downstairs, and same thing with the carbon monoxide detectors. But that's an interesting thing, because I didn't know it had to be in every bedroom.
And the reason for that is because a lot of people sleep with their doors closed. So you may not hear the beeping if it's in the hallway.
That's true. That's true. My kids, they can't hear anything because you be yelling, it's dinner time, and no one hears anything until you knock on their door. But that's great. I know the open house is one of those staple, wonderful events that East Chicago has. I really enjoy going there every year myself. We used to have tumblers in the past, but you guys have tons of activities planned for this year, which is, if you want more information about the Fire Open House, is there a phone number we can call?
Yes, you can call 219-391-8472. And let me add, we have added, NIPSCO is going to participate with a tabletop safety village. They're actually going to show you how gas and electricity runs in your community.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we're going to have K9 Zelda. It's a fire detection arson dog. And then we're going to also have Superior Medical Ambulance. It's an air medical helicopter. And they're going to land at Central Fire Station and give tours.
That's cool, man. I was hoping for a helicopter ride, but I guess that's out the question, huh?
Maybe in the
Out the
future.
window. So tell us, Tony, what are some of your goals for the fire department?
Well, I was named interim chief 4th of July of 2016, and just recently in this July, named chief permanently. The goals are the same as when I took over. The training aspect of the East Chicago Fire Department, our training has just increased tenfold in the past few years. Our readiness, our preparedness for any fire department, you have to be at the ready. You have to be ready for anything, and the way to be prepared and be ready for that is training. When I took over, we were in the midst of a lot of state certification classes. We've just completed our Fire Officer 1 state certification class, thanks to the tremendous help of our training staff, which includes John Roberts, one of our training instructors. Our firefighters have done an outstanding job buying into the goals that we have set before them, which is it's not only about hands-on, it's not only about what you encounter, but it's about what you have to prepare for, what you need to learn. Things change. Science and innovation is always on the move, and you have to be ready. You have to adapt to all these changes, and our firefighters have really bought into that. We've, like I said, our training, our state certification classes, all the things that we've done. That's probably been, and that will remain to be, my number one goal, is to have our East Chicago firefighters, our department, be the most well-trained, disciplined fire department. Thanks to the city's sound financial management, we are probably one of the most well-equipped fire departments in Northwest Indiana. Our fleet of fire engines are new, 2014, 2015, and 2 fire department pumpers in 2016. In 2017, this January, we just delivered a $1.2 million aerial platform. Coming on the way, we have, in April of 2018, a $500,000 heavy-duty rescue. I mean, the commitment has been there from the mayor, from the council, from the city administration, has committed dollars, real dollars, to the Chicago Fire Department. And you can't just hand somebody a new piece of equipment without knowing how to operate it. And so that's why training has to increase, and training has. And the things that we've done in the fire department in the recent past and now has just been to focus on giving the best service to the community. I mean, after all, that is what we are. When somebody picks up the phone and dials 911, they expect great customer service. When we're answering the call, it's probably somebody's worst day of their life, whether it's a medical call, whether it's a car accident, or a fire. We're there to serve. And the best way that we can do that is to be ready for anything that could come our way. And we're ready with our equipment, we're ready with our training. And, ultimately, we all want to just come to work, do the best we can, and go home to our families, and then come back the next day and do the best again. And we're trying, every day, trying to make sure that our firefighters and the city of Chicago has what they need to do that.
Interesting. I've seen the fire department hire some new young men. How many new firemen have we gotten within the last, say, year or so?
In 2016, we hired 13, brand new. In 2015, there were 3, and in 2014, we have 2. We're going to be hiring off of the new list that was just recently certified and we're going through all the pre-employment process now. Another 10. You know, within a year, by 2018, the end of 2018, going into 2019, practically a third or more of our department is going to have 5 years or less. We're a changing department. That's primarily the reason why training has to be at the forefront, not simply because everyone is young or new, but because as people retire, like Chief Inspector Ventura will soon, one day, and myself, you have to be able to pass the torch to and know and feel confident that those coming behind you are going to take it up a notch. And the whole idea of training and with all of our new firefighters, you're looking at a matter of probably about almost 30 new firefighters with 5 years or less within the next year. So right now you're looking at 1325. You're looking at probably 18 brand new right now, and with another 10 coming on next year. And so that's why training has to be so important. So yes, we're a changing department. We're definitely seeing that we're in a transition from a veteran to a younger department. At the same time, though, I've got to hand it to our veterans, guys with some whiskers, men and women with whiskers on the job. We just had a couple of fires where I got to hand it to the captains and the officers that handle that. It's no matter how many young firefighters you have to have those old steady hands there, and they knocked down a couple of fires we just had recently, just like if it was 20 years ago. I mean, the ability and our firefighters, the way they do the job, I'm so proud of them, and they should be proud of themselves, because it's not just about certifications in classroom. They perform in the field, and I'm proud of them.
That was that big fire on Chicago Avenue.
That one too.
That was our only ice cream shop, man. I'm glad they're coming back, though. I saw a sign that La Michoacana, is that what they call it? They're coming back, man. My kids were so happy. They're like, finally ice cream back in the city of Chicago. I know, but that was a scary fire. I remember I was on vacation when it did happen. But I commend the fire department for that. That was you were right in the middle of downtown, and that was a tough fire. But thank you for all your service, and you firemen, how old do you have to be to retire? Like, I think it's like 40, ain't it? Just kidding.
No, the state pension regulates that 20 years and age of 52, and it's one thing I've said over and over to the 13 that we hired last year when I was interim chief, and to the ones I'm talking to now. This is a young man's job. Have your goals set. Do your 20 and out. Both firefighters and police officers. It takes a lot out of you, physically, mentally, to do this job every day. We're dealing with things that people at times only have to deal with maybe once in a lifetime, but that's our job every day to deal with those kind of things. And so it's stressful on your mind and on your body. And so that's one thing I do tell all the recruits, have your plans ready, go to school, get educated, do your thing on your off time, so that way when you hit 20 years, you can maybe walk away and be fully intact physically and mentally.
I'm glad they have someone like you at the helm, because I'm sure you'll be giving all those young new firefighters excellent advice and direction, which is great. I'd like to thank you guys for joining us here today. We're going to go on to a couple events here for the City of Chicago, sponsored by, of course, Mayor Anthony Copeland and Parks and Recreation. We have our EC Hollow. That is a haunted house and trail on Thursday and Friday, October 26th and 27th. That will be at Kosciuszko Park. That's at 151st Street and Indianapolis Boulevard. We're going to have a movie in the park at night, and there will be games, hay rides, refreshments, marshmallow roasting, and we're having a trunk or treat sponsored by a lot of our local businesses. Correct, Myra?
Correct, yes.
That's good. You can wear your costume. It's only $3 per person. Anyone 4 and under, it's free. And that event will run from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Now, so how many businesses did we get to participate in our trunk or treat?
So far, we have 5 confirmed, but we're hoping that more businesses around East Chicago would like to be a part of this great event.
So if you're a business out there and you want to participate in our trunk or treat for this event, you can call Myra at 391 219-391-8474. That's area code 219-391-8474. And, just if you're in East Chicago, if you're outside from East Chicago, I don't care. If you want to participate in this great event, and I mean great event because we have over 1,500 people per day
Right.
on that, and now we're growing, so we're anticipating even more, so that's great. So don't forget our EC Hollow event, Thursday and Friday, October 26th and 27th. We are going to have a Veterans Day ceremony. We're not sure exactly which date. The mayor's committed. He wants us to have something very nice for the veterans. So we will keep you guys posted, and we'll share that information with our Veterans View people that are coming up next. Thank you for tuning in to WJOB 1230 AM on your and 104.7 on your FM dial, Northwest Indiana's premier community-based news talk sports radio station. Thank you for tuning in.